Hey, for Francis' sakes here for 20 minutes and podcast. So these videos are for the moms who are stuck at home, or dads, whatever. If you like all these kind of mommy content, whatever, floats your boat. But this is just 20 minutes. And there's going to be interruptions. As you can hear, my baby is crying. I'm just going to go over there. Oh, it's a baby. Oh. It's okay. It's okay. See, 20 minutes. If you can clean something for 20 minutes, I feel like, you know what? You've done enough. We are enough. We're busy enough. 20 minutes, we can do that. So today I'm going to be folding laundry, but you go choose something, even if it's a drawer, go choose a drawer. I suggest just, you know what? You can put this video in your ear. You can have TV going on for your kids, whatever. You can have white noise on for the babies. Whatever you need to just like, if you're going to need some clean supplies, little baskets for organizing, some cleaning, like paper towel, just grab it all together. And a drink, of course. Not that I am against drinking wine. I'm just going to try and not drink wine these days. So I'm having myself some bubbly. Perfect. So this podcast today, today's podcast is going to be Kaylin's birth story. So Kaylin is my rainbow baby. So my fertility journey is essentially after my dad died, there was like this gaping hole in my heart. My husband and I were like, you know what? F it. We're just going to like have a baby. We're just going to fill this gap with a cute little baby, because that sounds like a good idea, because, you know, another little life is how you can navigate through grief, you know? So my dad passed away in August of 2019. And the first time we got pregnant was the week of Christmas. So 4 months after he died is when we ended up being pregnant. And on Christmas Eve is when I lost that first pregnancy. So, trigger warning. Trigger warning, you know, life sucks sometimes. And I swear this one, I must have two of these. So that was my first loss, and then it was like devastating. And you know, and it's funny, you're like pregnant for 5 days. Like, you know you're pregnant and it's only been 5 days, but the loss is just so, you just like feel totally broken. But anyways, I had already contacted my midwife, or a midwife, and then I had lost the pregnancy. So right away that kind of relationship got dissolved. But then I got to rate them 3 weeks later. Oh, hey, I'm pregnant again. And this time, we started the HCG journey, you know, when you go and get your blood tested, and then 2 days later you get it tested again, and they see if that is doubling, which this one was. So it meant that it wasn't just left over from my previous loss. This was a brand new pregnancy. So again, we were excited, but at the 8-week ultrasound, it just looked so small. Baby was just so small. And then had to go back a week later, and it just turned out that this pregnancy wasn't viable either. And so it was just a game of waiting for that pregnancy to end, which it ended up not ending for 4 months. Actually, no, that wasn't that one. Oh, silliness. So anyways, we ended up pregnant again, I think 3 months later. But this one, when we went for the HCG test, the numbers came back at like, I think it was like 9. So that means that we have a pregnancy of unknown location, and it was an ectopic. Not that it was even in the tubes, but it was somewhere. And so they wanted me to take the metformin, which is that cancer drug. And I might be saying that wrong. I seem to always get it wrong, but whatever. If I got right, good for me. But anyway, so I refused because I just didn't want to take that. I wanted to see if I would just continue on with the pregnancy. I mean, not pregnancy, with the loss, and just allow it to kind of happen. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I ended up having to have a D&C because my HCG levels started to like raise again. So that meant that something was growing. And when I went for an ultrasound, there was like a bunch of kind of tissue, I guess, something growing inside. So I had to have a D&C because there was a possible molar pregnancy, which my sister-in-law had an actual molar pregnancy, and it is crazy. So just quickly, molar pregnancy is when the fetus has like 2 sperm went into 1 egg, or you have an abnormal egg, and anyways, basically cancer starts to grow, and it's really not good. And she went through that, but she just had her rainbow baby. Little guy, love him. Oh, Quentin, there you go, baby, there you go. Anyway, so after the D&C, my husband and I, we were kind of like, well, like, let's take a break. It was just kind of like a lot. I think at this point, that was 4 losses. And then my husband's dad was in the process of crossing over as well. And that was really tough. So, Terry passed away December 21st of 2020. So at this point, a year had passed. And I think, I think the universe was like, okay, like, there's all these things happening, and now you're good to go. And I read this book called Am I the Reason I'm Not Getting Pregnant? And it is amazing. It is so good. And then I think something with the egg. I can't remember what that book was. I'll find it and I'll put it in the link below. Anyways, so got pregnant again. The first day of my last cycle before Kaylin was, conceived, or when we started tracking, was January 1st. So we went into the new year thinking, you know what? We had all this good energy from reading that book. Like, Am I the Reason I'm Not Getting Pregnant? And, we started just concentrating on being happy. And then we ended up getting pregnant. And then I actually I was carrying my Kaylin. And I went to this medium. And I'm sorry if you're not into mediums. It's fine. I'm sorry. But she said that my dad was on the other side. And this pregnancy was good. And he was giving it a thumbs up. Which, if you knew my dad, I could just see him doing that. But anyways, yeah. And we wanted to find out what we were having because I already had a son and I really just wanted a little girl. And it was a little boy, there was like, in the ultrasound, I saw it. And then she's like, are you sure you want to just like keep it a secret on the card? And I was like, no, I saw it, I'm having a boy. Oh, Quentin. You just want to come out of there? You're just like, no, Mom, I'm not having a nap. I'm not having a nap. Oh. Oops, sorry, Kate. Oh. It's my baby. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So anyways, his his birth story. So now that I had a midwife, I always wanted to flirt with the idea of laboring at home and giving birth at home. So we made the plan. The midwives came over to the house. We go over everything. And my husband, who already had 2 children, and we had Caden at the hospital, he was kind of like, I don't know, like he hadn't really experienced a birth where we didn't need some sort of medical intervention. So it was kind of like, oh, but they are able to just smooth over any fears. And Kimberly, my midwife, she honestly is such a dream. Oh, you okay? Anyway, so a week before I went into labor, and I'm like taking Caden to school every day, and like the weight in my pelvis is just like crazy. I don't know how many times I was like, I'm gonna give birth in like in Safeway. Oh. So 4:00 in the morning, I get woken up by contractions. So I start listening to some hypnobirthing just to try and calm or maybe even sleep. Right, my midwives, and I'm like, it's happening. I'd never gone into spontaneous labor before, so I didn't really know what anything was going to feel like, even though I had already had a kid. When you have the epidural and all of those things, you really lose this connection with your body. So I was just like, yeah, it's happening. And everyone was kind of like, like 38 weeks. No, like no one really believed me. And then I felt embarrassed. Like, sorry guys. Anyway, so same thing, a week later, 4:00 in the morning, I get woken up by contractions, and I'm listening to the hypnobirthing because I like to listen to that stuff. It helps me sleep, takes my mind off things. And take Cade to school, and I go to the store to get dog food, and the lady there, she had I've been going to them for the last year, so she's like, I think you're gonna have this baby today. And I was like, well, I made a liar out of myself last week, so I don't know. And I go home and I start counting my contractions, and I had the criteria for the midwife to come. So they were 5 minutes apart, 1 minute, and 1 minute long. Oh, I think that's what it is. Just shameful doing this podcast. Don't even know. But I call her and I'm just like, well, I feel fine. You know, I just text my husband, just told him to not get too far away at his work. But I really felt fine. And I was doing all like the hip circles, each contraction on the birth ball. You know, I had some Tylenol, tried to rest. And, oh, look at how cute those are. And anyways, my son came home and he's just like, no baby yet. And my husband then arrived and he orders Chinese food. My son's playing video games. My husband's got this show blasting on the TV, and I just remember being like, I need to go lay down and have some quiet. So I came upstairs and I was having contractions, but it still was like, I don't know, Braxton Hicks and contractions, sometimes they feel like the same. Anyway, so I'm like setting up candles and Himalayan salt lamp, just trying to like relax and put hypnobirthing on and lay on the bed. And just like the universe is just like this crazy little thing to me. So hypnobirthing, they kind of go through your body, get you to relax all the way through. And it's going your head, your shoulders, your abdomen, and then it gets to your hips and your lower body. And it was like, and you feel your lower body relax. And I get this contraction and boom, my water breaks. And I yell out to my husband, who's like in the bathroom, probably, you know, going number 2. Like, Sean, my water broke. So we called the midwives. And they're just like, so how does she seem? My husband's like, well, yeah, she seems fine. I'm like getting, you know, so once your water breaks, oh man, it's such a magical feeling. It's like, oh, this pressure is like released. And they're like, okay, well, you know, it could still be a while. So just, you know, when it starts getting really serious, just give me a call. So we started running the tub, and I go lay in the tub, still listening to the hypnobirthing. I like look out, and Sean's sleeping on the floor, and contracting. It's pretty painful. And so I finally get out, and I get onto my hands and knees onto my floor, and I get a contraction, and my body pushes. Like, I didn't push, but my body pushed. And I was like, Sean, like, I was like, call her and get her to come. And I could hear her, like, does she want me to come? And I just said, like, yes. And it took her about 25 minutes to get to my house. When she arrived, she put me onto the bed so she could check me. And she goes, yeah, well, you're 10 centimeters. Try and not push. She's like, just try your hardest. Try not and push. So she starts running the tub. She's running around trying to get herself all organized. She calls the other midwives. And 25 minutes after she got there is when Kale was born. So I remember, oh, yes, I remember that I just had to go poop so bad. Oh my gosh. I had to go poop so bad. And my mom had shown up. My mom's a nurse, and my husband's like, do you want your mom to come? And I kept thinking, like, oh yeah, she'll help me poop. She's a nurse, you know? I couldn't even say anything. I was in so much pain and kind of within. I remember he was like, are you sweating or wet? Like, I'm gonna kill you. That's what I am. And anyway, so the midwife said, well, like, do you want me to run you a tub? And I said, yes. And I was like looking at my toilet thinking, if I could get to the toilet, I could use a contraction and go poop. Like, this is where my mind was at. And so I stood up and I go over to the toilet, have a contraction, and crown. Like, I put my hand down there and it was just the top of this baby's head. And I swore really loud. My midwife like came in and was just like, whoa. And I was just like, no, it's fine. And I get into the tub, and I follow this lady, the Bell method. And she said, when you're crowning, say house when you have to push. And it's just house, you know, like that deep energy. And it's just like downward compared to like, which, you know what? If you want to scream in labor, scream. But if you could take that energy and go, ooh, then that is going to help. And anyways, so maybe you should warn people that you're going to be saying house, because they may be a little confused. I remember my midwife was like, okay. Anyway, so we were in the tub, and I think it was about 2 more pushes, and I met my baby boy. My husband, I pushed him out, and I was just like, ugh. My husband grabbed him, put him onto my chest, and we just did that for a little bit, and then that's when we cut the cord, and I got to go lay in my bed and go and relax. I was like shaking though, physically shaking, all the adrenaline. I think it just happened so fast because my water broke at about 9 and he was born at 11 on the dot. 11 on the dot. And what was cool about that, actually, cool, sad too, because I'm going to mention my father. My dad passed at exactly 2300 on August 13th in 2019. And Kaylin was born October 4th at exactly 2300. Exactly 2300. And Kaylin is the only one of my kids that has brown eyes. And my dad had brown eyes. When Sean, my husband, and I both have hazel eyes. But all of our kids, blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah, so there's Cameron, Zoe, Caden, and then now my baby Quentin, all blonde hair, blue-eyed kids. But my little Kalen, he's the one who came after my dad with his brown eyes. Exact same time that my dad left. So that is my Kalen's birth story. And in the morning, Caden was choked that he missed his brother's birth. But man, was he proud. Super proud.
But I got to watch Quentin's birth.
That's right. Caden stayed for my next baby's birth, which I will do a cleaning session with that birth story as well. So this has been 20 minutes. If you are done, sweet, you are done for the day. Remember that you can always come to me if you are alone in this postpartum journey, because when I was staying home with my firstborn, it was actually these ladies I met online that kept me company at 3 o'clock in the morning when my baby wouldn't sleep. And I'm going to be making videos to support women who are up all night with no company. And I hope that you enjoyed this birth story. I told Caden when I started this one today that I was just going to start making videos. You know what? I got to stop being afraid. Just got to make them. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you want to subscribe. Have yourself a great day. I'm going to sit here and continue to fold because I'm not done. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.